Welcome to the Victorian Yard Utility and Farm Dog Association's Judges Training video series. In this presentation, Ian O'Connell runs through how he prepares to judge an event.
I've split my presentation up into three sections. The judge's briefing. I've put here start 10 seconds before the advertised time. So if the judge's talk's advertised at 7:30, well, you start at 10 seconds before 7:30. Now the reason I've put that is I just think once again it shows that you're in control. Now perhaps you might, if there's someone walking across the paddock, you might wait for them, but I'm just, don't be, the trials to start then, so you start it then. You are in control of it. Introduce yourself if no one else has. The big thing here, and I see people not doing it, I really think they should, is ask for any new trials. If it's an encourager or a novice trial and you've got a group of people around, and the new people, the people that haven't done much trialling or any trialling, they'll be standing at the back and they'll be as nervous as buggery. So ask, is there any new trialers there? Any person who hasn't trialled before, and introduce them and ask the experienced trialers, or tell that person, any questions you got, ask these people. And if they don't answer you, ask them again, annoy them. So make them feel probably a bit more comfortable in what when they first come out, because you should all remember what it was like when you first went out there. I remember going out there and sheep fencing my first trial, and I thought, I'd been watching it for 15 years beforehand. Every year I'd go to sheep fencing and sit there and watch it. And I thought, Jesus, look, this is easy, I could do this. My dogs at home do this. Anyway, I got there and I didn't know anything about rules. No one told me about rules. That's why I'm a great believer in commentary, so that everyone there sitting and watching has some insight as to what's happening. And I seen a bloke standing there in rubber boots and he had a stick in his boot, and I thought, well, he must be a trialer. And it was Peter Mead. And I said to Peter, what do you do here, any rules? No, mate. They let him out of that gate down there. You bloody put them through the yard, put them back down there, and you've done that, you've won. So I had this dog called Tip. It was a -5 degree morning, a white frost, and me and my son, 8-year-old Billy, we didn't have dog boxes or anything then. We had an old Tip and a young bitch, Lucy. And it was too cold to bring them across to Casson to Hamilton in the back of the ute, and I didn't have a dog box, so the two dogs and me and Billy are sitting up in the front of the ute. And I think someone must have fed them meat the night before. Anyway, so Peter Mead said, no mate, she's a piece of cake. But let them out down there, put them around through the trial, put them back, you've won. You'll be making this speech. So I did that. And I thought, geez, this is good. I wonder how much money I'll get for winning this. And as I'm climbing the yard to get out, he used the F word, he said, you effing idiot. I said, why? He said, well, I was climbing fences, I was going back helping the dog, and I didn't know. So, that was my first experience. Right, so you're giving your judges talk now. You ask for any new trialers, make them feel welcome. When you're giving your talk, speak loudly, slowly, clearly, and facing the handlers. How many trials do we go to where we're trying to keep up to the judge? He's got his head down like this and muttering, and he's walking. And all the trials are behind trying to keep up and trying to hear what he's saying. It's not on. Slowly, clearly, loudly, and face every handler, standing still. And when you go to walk to the next place, keep quiet until you get there, and then face your handlers and start again. Don't talk while you're walking. Go through your general do's and don'ts. So things like, if you want to talk about what are you going to do if a sheep jumps out, what are you going to do with biting, and all those do's and don'ts, of course, stipulate that. Now, as I said, I write things down. I think it's not seen as manly to write things down. If you're any good at your job, you'll just speak it off the cuff. I don't do that because I think I might forget something that I should have said and I'll regret it. So I do write it down. And when I was preparing this, I went through my folder with dogs written on top of it, and I found this. This is my cards from the trial that I judged with Rod, the Australian over there. So I've just I put all my just little rules on the front there. So I made sure after I give them a talk that I had said all those things. And then each page after that's only got a few things written on it is for each section of the trial. And as I was going from each section, I just checked to make sure I hadn't forgot anything. I didn't read off it, but I just checked to make sure that I'd given everything. And I also found the one that we did for Bendigo. Mention anything that is not on the rules that you will be pointing, and I said about that before. Like it's not against it. It's not in the rules about touching your dog. What are you going to do if a handler touches his dog? So you need to say that. And I've seen Australian Championships stuffed up. That was in Lucendale too many years ago. Someone touched their dog, Justin Toombs, and there was hell to play over it. So make sure if you're going to point or disqualify someone for touching their dog, tell them.
It is in the rules, isn't it?
Sorry?
Doesn't it say that in the rules?
I don't think so.
It says may, not must, and a lot of people think that the may is the must, and it's not.
I've just got here, make notes to make sure you don't forget any part of your plan, and that's what I just spoke about there. Walk the entire course. This is what I do anyway. Walk the entire course that you want, where you want the stock to go, pulling up and explaining each section in order and asking for any questions at each section. So don't roar around the course and then ask for any questions. Ask for questions for each section as you go and clear each one up as you go. And don't be drawn into any discussion that attempts to have you alter your plan. Someone might come up with a real bright idea that you should have thought of. Tough. If you are seen to be able to be drawn into discussion and the judges talk, you're gone. You've lost control. And if one person achieves it on you, gets you, then they'll be on you like bloody vultures. They'll all be at it. And before you know where you are, you'll be slithering around in the ground. Don't lose control. Even if someone come up with a real good idea, just ignore it. And then later on think, geez, that was a good idea, wish I'd included that. But don't get into a discussion. Short circuit any pointless or irrelevant questions. And once you've done a bit of judging, you find out the people that are going to ask you just irrelevant, pointless questions every time. Ignore any attempts by any handler to intimidate or influence you. Once again, there will be people that will try and intimidate you or influence you. Just go straight over the top of it. Don't fall for it. Don't get stuck on that. Because once again, humans are like vultures. If someone succeeds, then you'll have 10 of them trying to do it to you. Stand strong and be confident in your own decision-making processes. If you don't get it right, well, your peers won't ask you to judge another trial, but at least you can hold your head high that you did your best. If you've done your homework, be confident in your decision-making. Stay in control. State how many sheep and how much time. Ask for any final relevant questions. Wish everyone luck and tell them to enjoy themselves. Now, one rule is that handlers are not to ask you questions or discuss anything with you once you start trialling. I mention that, I will always mention that in a judge's talk. I don't want to be going around judging a trial and have the person ask me anything, because I want to cover everything in my talk. And once again, if you lose control and start getting people asking you questions, they'll all start asking you questions. It just means you haven't done your job properly in the first place. Yeah.
Just on that, if you say you want the sheep past the handler peg to this tree or whatever,
yeah,
and where you're standing, you can't have it. So even if they say, are you happy with that, don't entertain it. If you're not happy, if you think that you're not sure of it, just move, go further.
It's all to do with planning a course. I don't ask, if they can't see it, don't ask for it. You know what I mean? I'm definitely against them. Is that far enough? Is that far enough? You know, if they can't see it's far enough, well, you shouldn't have asked for that in the first place. It's part of your planning. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people do, and that's fine, but it's my opinion.